Hello, welcome to another session of Learn with Veer Sagar. In an earlier session, I had talked about setting standards, and I got a lot of questions and comments from people saying, how do we do that in today's environment when nothing is known? How do we make a budget when everything is so fuzzy? Nothing we can forecast with any accuracy. How do we then make a budget? Very correct. It's like saying, how do I go from place A to place B using Google Map when roads are being dug or are being blocked or diverted? Right? So does it mean that you will not go? You will go. You'll make an assumption that you will follow this route, and then as you find a roadblock, as you find some diversion, you will then recalibrate your route and move on. So also with business. Nothing is business is a given. The role of a manager, and the smaller the company, the more important this role is to manage fuzzy logic, to manage fuzziness, manage uncertainties. But to know what an uncertainty is, you need to put some sticks in the mud. So to make a budget, and it's very important, believe me, to be a successful entrepreneur, to be a successful manager, you need to budget. Because once you budget, you will be able to sort out any variations that you get, any fuzziness that you get, because you will have a plan B and you'll have a roadmap. So how do I make a budget? Where do I start? Generally, all companies, all entrepreneurs are starting something at the end of the day to make money. Right? We may cloud it with whatever we will like, nice words, nice faces, all that, but at the end of the day, the business is to make money, make profit. And everything else becomes steps, activities towards that end. So you can start from there. Okay, this is the profit I want to make. So to make that profit, then you work backwards. You say to make that profit, how much of turnover I must make. If I make this turnover, how much profit do I make? So first thing you do is to have an objective in mind that this is the profit I want to make. And then the thing you do then afterwards is to find out what revenue I must generate to make that profit. Which means that for every activity, every item that you market, whether it's a product or a service, it's a product linked to a customer, a service linked to a customer, it must have a selling price. Once it has a selling price, it will also have a cost related to it. A cost could be, if it's a product, the cost would be the raw material cost and the labor cost. If it's a service, it will be a labor cost. So every item would have a selling price and a direct cost related to it, and therefore a gross margin. And to get that, now you have to say, okay, what are my assumptions for costs? If it's a manufacturing item, what are the raw materials that I use? And therefore, what cost per kg, per liter, per whatever do I take going forward for the next 12 months? Similarly, it's a labor-oriented service. What labor cost do I take for the next 12 months going forward? So with these inputs, which you take as assumptions, assumption on individual raw material cost, assumption on a mix, assumption on the number, you then say, okay, if I make, now you go back and say, all right, this product, how much can I sell? To who do I sell? And you make out a forecast of what you can sell item by item. You do this individually, do it with your marketing, do whichever way you want. You make out a forecast. Then you run that. For that forecast, what is the margin that you make? And is that the margin you're looking for? If it's the margin you're looking for, great. If not, then go backwards, increase, decrease, whatever you have to do to see what is the right margin you can make. Having decided the margin, say you do it on an annual basis, easiest thing to do then is to divide it by 12, to split it to a monthly margin. I'm not wanting to go weekly, a monthly is fine to start with. At the end of the month, now you work out and see, okay, what is the profit or the margin did I actually make? This is available and actual. And how does that compare with the margin that I was supposed to make? Supposing you have made more, great. But now sit back and analyze, why have you made more? What did you do better than your assumptions? And how to build on that. The more difficult part is if you have done less. Now you have to analyze, why did I do less? To be able to make up, you need to know first, what did you do not correct? So you look at it and say, okay, if I have not made that profit, have I made the revenue? Is it because my revenue was lower than what I budgeted? If so, then why or how can I make up that? If not, then do I say, okay, I have to live with lower budget, lower profit, and therefore subsequent action down the line so that your profit level comes up. If you say, no, my turnover is right, is your mix wrong? Go back and analyze that. Is this because you sold more of something with less margin and less of something with better margins? If so, how do you correct that? If you find, no, your mix is right, your turnover is right, but you're still not making the profit, then you say, is your cost wrong? If your cost is different from what you assumed, then where is the cost wrong? Which raw material has gone up? What labor component has gone up? And therefore, what do I need to do to correct that? So what you do is you have a budget and you have a series of assumptions for that. Then you check the actuals against the budget, find out what are the variations against your assumptions. What assumptions held and what assumptions did not hold. And for assumptions that did not hold, what do we need to do different to do that? And it could be a lot of variety of actions. I don't have time to say that, but it's a variety of actions to bring the margin back. I hope I have explained this. If not, please write back to me that no, it's not enough. You need to explain more and I'll do something different. But I had questions from people who said, look, I am a manager or I have done a lot of work, but I have difficulty understanding when you say set standards and monitor yourself against standards. So I've done this example, given you this suggestion, and I hope it works for you. If it does, please like the video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Till then, it's Veer Sagar saying thank you very much till we meet again next week. Thank you. Bye.